adolescence is a very crucial time when we undergo the time between 10 years of age to 18 years. That's a very turmoil condition. The age is very undergoing lots of challenges and experiences. So what we can say is like these days we tell extended adolescent. Extend means the adolescent age not only 18 now, we make it 23. The reason why is because the child, when he became get a job and when he stand on his own foot, then we take him off from that category of teenage group. Otherwise, till then, when he, as long as he's dependent upon his family, his parents for his survival, uh, then it is considered again as a teenager. So teenager age is 10 to 18, and extended adolescent we say till 23 years old. Okay, so this age is very crucial. The journey of an adolescent is very important. Like it's a pattern of challenges and experiences that shape the transition to an adulthood. So our main concept today is health, which is related to the academic performance. The scholastic backwardness, which we see these days in our children, this like many factors like mental to the physical. So the physical aspects, what we say these days is very important is anemia. Anemia is like it is there everywhere, especially in our country. So almost 50, above 50% people are anemic, what we say, especially the girls. So the government of Kerala, as it is recommending everybody to take at least one iron tablet every week, so that the anemic part is cleared. Why? Because if this patient is the child is anemic, that he cannot like concentrate, he cannot sit in a particular place for a long time. The attention span will be quite less. That energy level will be very low. The child will be very much tiredness. All those things then cannot actually participate in any events happening in the schools. So lots of things depending on the immunity, all depend upon this iron part. So iron is very important. The parents who are listening to me or the teachers who are listening to me, I advise you, please carry on this message and tell you all the students to take at least one iron tablet every day, every week. So daily, if you are anemic, like clinically, you have proven that you are anemic, your hemoglobin level is below 11, 10. I find such children with hemoglobin 9, 8, and all like, So if you have deficiency, you are proven clinically anemic, you must take iron tablets for 3 months. Along with that, you must take B complex, zinc, and vitamin C. Iron alone won't help. And what we say is for the menstrual age group, especially the girls, what they should is at least one handful of spinach a day will make them healthy. Like the iron, the blood which they lose during their menstrual periods, maybe 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, they're losing the blood. So to replace that, at least a handful of spinach every day. In Malayalam, we say chira, ഒരു കൈ ചീര, ഒരു പിടി ചീര. One handful of that chira, that spinach will replace the daily loss of iron in a minority child. So during menstrual period and otherwise also every day you must give the child this thing, and we must encourage them to take this. Many schools in Kerala and maybe other states also, I don't know, but in Kerala in many government schools they are supplementing iron tablets weekly once to all the children. But many children they don't take these medicines, they just simply throw away. But I advise, if you don't like the taste or if you're having some difficulty after taking that medicine, better you go to shop and get an iron tablet and have it. So many other health related issues like which can lead to academic problem is like there are many issues. So another thing which we come across is thyroid. Thyroid is there in this age group. It can be there in any age group. It's not that it should be adult to have the adult to have thyroid. Hypothyroidism is seen in all the age groups, even from newborn to teenagers to adults, any age. So if a child is having excessive hair loss, is gaining heavy weight, having constipation, tiredness always, such things can lead to can idea that you must go for a thyroid checkup. And because hypothyroidism make the child dull and back poor in scholastic performance. So let's take, there are many other factors like mental and all, anxiety, depression. We'll come to that one by one. So what I should say is like an adolescent is like a sailboat. That period is like a sailboat. The boat is sailing in the sea. Maybe it may be calm, maybe it may be stormy. The sea may be calm and stormy. We don't know how it is. So that the ship captain is that particular person. The adolescent is the captain. So you should be well equipped to handle that sail, that ship. So what the steering, the captain having the steering, how he's managing the steering, which is inner strength. You should be molded from the early age to become like the inner strength should be molded better, and the willpower and the resilience, so that the child can navigate when it is calm or stormy, like he can adjust to either side of the life, that how it is hard or difficult. So what we say is like, and every child should have a lighthouse. So when a child ship is moving in a sea, then it will be guided by the lighthouse. What we say in the right path. So the lighthouse, who is the lighthouse? It will be the mentor or the role model, maybe a teacher, maybe a good person in the family, an uncle or somebody, like to provide guidance and support to the adolescent. This age group is very much difficult, because they are more influenced from than the teachers and the parents. They are more influenced by the peer group, the friends, how they influence them. The friends, like they more listen to the friends what to say. Let's do this, let's do that. Next time, do some experiments and also. Adolescent is very aggressive age group, and we can manage when a child is having some issues. Like we have a sort of headings. So, and the topic is health and scholastic backwardness. How we assess a adolescent child is like we have a heading called heads. HEAD heads. The each heading has got a point, valid point. So it's the head is one is for the home. The environment at home is very important in a student's life. The adolescent, how he performs in the school, like it is all depends upon the environment at home. And education, the employment. So these things all depends upon the education of the child, education of the family, employment of the parents. These all affect a adolescent. The eating habits directly related to the health. Some may eat more, some may eat less. What we say iron deficiency, I already explained to it. Obesity is very much there in this age group. Then the thyroid, I already explained to that, and the deficiency of micronutrients, which can lead to many health issues. Then the activities, the child is very like actively involved in any sports or other things, or like he is not at all active, he's simply browsing aimlessly, mindlessly, simply going through the reels and all those things. Like there are also lots of these things are happening here these days. So this is how a adolescent heading we are taking point by point when we assess an adolescent. Then in the heads, another point is D for drugs. The any drugs the child is substance abuse, we should say. Then the sexuality, that's the menstrual pain, the menstrual health. So this menstrual pain, many children are not able to attend schools or good not doing studies well. Maybe the 3 days of the menstrual period suffer from heavy pain. I request everybody, please carry on this message to your students. Like they should not have this pain and should miss the classes. I can advise the Ministry of Child and Women Welfare. They have advised to take Meftal Spas. Everybody is aware of that medicine, Meftal. Meftal Spas is a tablet twice daily. They can take for the 3 days, and maybe thrice also pain is severe for the next 3 days during the menstrual period. The pain. Nobody should sit with this pain in the classroom or should absent due to the menstrual pain. So Meftal Spas can be taken twice or thrice in a day for the next 3 days, and they can also take like Neurobind and other tablets so that they can get rid of this pain. Also, like other thing is which help which related to the scholastic thing is the sleep and the spirituality. So these headings we should go through while assessing a child. So sleep is very important, because when we say is when you shut off a computer, the computer get reset the same way the memory. So a child's memory, what the child has studied during the exam time or the class, these things get into the permanent memory of the brain, the part. There's a short time memory, there's a long time memory. So the long time memory part is getting done when the child sleeps. So you should get a very good sleep hygiene, very good sleep, at least 6 to 7 hours. So from age 10 onwards, we tell it is teenagers. So less than 10 years, we tell them advice 10 hours of sleep. After 10 years to 18 years, can vary the sleep from 10 hours to say 8 hours to 6 hours. At least 6 hours sleep is must for a healthy. Otherwise, the immunity things will be gone. The child is not slept in the night properly, may sleep off with the class, and that can lead to poor in concentration, attention, and lack of getting bad grades in the class. So these things are also very important. Every child, as our introduction time, when they was told that there is some anxiety, psychological problems. Yes, it is there. So we have got even tools for that also to assess a psychology aspect in a child. So there's a tool called Sacred. So Sacred is a tool for screening a child with anxiety related disorders. So we can use this. There is like headings like hates. I told there are headings in this category also, with which we can assess a child and find out how much anxious or how much depressed or how much the child is having psychological issues like anxious. So these things are very very important, and we must address this and we must help the child, because recent studies it shows that the anxiety level is so high in our children. We even can go up to 50%. There are very important finding which recently I read through is like even the climate change. Recently we exposed to lots of climate changes like flood and cyclones and other things. And what we say is like these things also can affect a child's performance in academics. So, like the separation from the family, relocation from home to like some uh, other schools, or where because due to flood they have to relocate to some camps and all those things. So, climate crisis also affect the children these days. And due to the climate changes, even girls they tend to eat more food, they tend to get more obese, the lack of activities. So these things are very much common these days. So we have to be very careful. The psychological distress, so uncertainty, anxiety. So these all can lead to the child's education. By like the extreme weather, this can affect the psychology. The child may be like thinking tomorrow will be flood, tomorrow will be cyclone, or whatever things may be. So these things can affect the children. And family migration, separation due to natural disaster leads to all those things. So what we say is like, so we must address these things. Even the schools, we must have a psychologist, and we must take these children, because as I had conducted a study in maybe almost 10 years back on the adolescent age group on their physical, mental, and sexual health. And what my finding was that almost like uh, 13 to 15% children were having high blood pressure because of obesity. So don't ignore obesity. We never expect that adolescent age groups how they can have blood pressure. They have diabetes, they have hypertension, they have hyperthyroid, all sort of problems. Like what all adults have is all seen in our teenagers also. So any child with obesity, which is having that height, weight, BMI, which is excess, we must advise these children to go for a health checkup, especially at least monitor their blood sugar and thyroid and blood pressure. So every school, the beginning of the academic year, you must advise them go for a these sort of checkups and then come to school with that paper, so that then you can start the new academic year in a healthy way. So 30% of children they face all those problems like home, and 20% they have problems at schools. So these also lead to some scholastic backwardness. So what are problems at home? They have lots of issues at home, like parents there may be a lack of communication. The parents may have some fight at home. So these things can affect the child, like his mental, his thought, his concentration, all those things affect. So never ever have any arguments at home in front of a child. So this is very, very important. And at school, what happens like lots of other problems like bullying, and these things are there every time. We find nearly 20% of children they suffer at school due to bullying. So they may don't like to go to school. Like we should think that if child is having such problems, we should help him out. So a regular healthy breakfast is very, very important in every child. So make sure that every child have a proper breakfast, because these days our children love to have lean, zero figure, all those things. So better we should, okay, if they want to have a good structure, good appearance, they can avoid diet, maybe dinner time, maybe let's skip a little bit of lunch, maybe make it small, but never ever skip a breakfast. A breakfast is the brain's nutrition. So to get more attention, more concentration in the classroom, the child should have very good nutrition. So make sure that it is having a healthy, proper breakfast. That is a very important thing for better performance in the class. And 80% students, like what in some studies we see that they properly don't go through the subjects, they don't learn the notes. Okay, so these things can lead to poor scholastic performance. So when in my study, I found that like there are 40% of children who never read through also. 2% of girls, 4% of boys. So obviously they may fail in the exam. So we should monitor them. Those who are not doing well or not following the chapters, not understanding any particular subjects, they should have a extra session in that particular subject of the class. Okay. And the other personal problems affect 34% of children. So we should put them into extracurricular activities. Now today, I had this presentation. And so what I did was 2 days, like I was busy preparing for this presentation. I was reading through journals, reading through adolescent materials and all those things. So I was fully engaged. So what we should do is like we should make our children not simply sit, alone here doing this, simply browsing all those things. Put them engaged in some activities. So make them some leaders or some performance in the school, some activities on the stage or some sports, these things. So keep them engaged. Don't leave them alone or like aloof, simply like wasting their time without doing anything. Make them engaged doing something very much like efficient, which make them a better leader tomorrow, a better person tomorrow. So, like in my study, I found like substance abuse because my studies was 10 years back, and that time, my study was like children used to tell what more disturbed them was SMS, addiction to SMS and girlfriends. But these days, SMS is gone. It's a long old story. Now 10 years gone. Now today we can see SMS is nothing. Nobody uses SMS. Everybody's browsing, chatting, and all those things, all sort of things they have. So this media usage should be restricted. So how we can restrict them? We must avoid them. See my one of my daughters, she's doing a plus 2 in a Rajagiri school in Manana, and there she's the father is very strict. He doesn't allow anybody to have a smartphone, smart watch or smartphone or okay. So my daughter is carrying a simple keypad phone so that she can call home every alternate day. That's how they're managing, and they are focused in academics. So these things should be strictly implemented. We can do it. We can strictly implement these things in our students also, because these things are taking away the time, maximum majority of the time, and they are not doing studies properly. So these mobile addiction, these things should be treated. It can be treated also. So we find this sibling rivalry. So I was talking about the problems. 20% of students, 30% of students, they face problem at home. So among that, there are 60% problem is sibling rivalry with the siblings. So parents arguments, that's a different thing. Fighting with the siblings, that's a different thing. It's affect broken home, and some children, even very sad to say, their responsibilities at home affect their education. They have lots of things to do at home. Maybe single parent, or maybe they are bound to do lots of responsibilities at home, and that can affect the scholastic performance. So these things also be taken care of. And so during the health, now we are talking about health and scholastic things. We should teach the how important the health is, the proper weight, the adequate weight for their age, the height, all those things should be properly maintained. Otherwise, what things can lead is they can lead to PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. So this is very like it's very much at rise. The thing is like they may have hirsutism. They grow more of hair. The girls will hair like beard and body hairs. Okay, these things lead to menstrual abnormalities. These things lead to infertility. So these things we should teach our adolescents. Like your future is depends upon your present day health. So the sexual health is very, very important. We must teach them these things. The sexual hygiene, the hygiene of the sexual organs is very, very important. Otherwise, all these problems can lead to like infertility, and other issues in the later age. Because our adolescents are tomorrow's healthy adults. So we should tell them. It's a responsibility of every teacher. When some children come from school, like the parents, they bring them. The child is very obese. The child is not performing well in studies. I tell them why the teacher does not have an like responsibility to advise the child or advise the parents, because the child is obese. At least the teacher, who is the class teacher or any subject teacher, they should have an empathy on the child. Like it is their own child. They should advise the parents, see your child is a little bit obese or is not growing tall like others. Why? Something wrong. You go for a health checkup. So these things, responsibility lies in not only with parents, even with the teachers also. So if any teachers are listening to me, have a word with your parents. When child is not growing well, not doing well, just advise them. not only for academics purpose also. Don't discuss about academics also. No, more than academics also. You must take some interest in their characters also. This thing should be communicated with the parents. So the 30% of adolescents occasionally think of suicide because this age is very turmoil. We already discussed. So 30% adolescents they have a suicide tendency. So why we should identify if any child has ever attempted a suicide, there is a very high chance that he will commit suicide again. So any child who has ever tried an attempt to suicide, you should take him to a psychiatrist and get him treated. Don't leave him alone or at some assessment. There is an assessment called the Trivandrum Development. Like this is a screening tool which we have. So teenage screening questionnaire, Trivandrum. These things is available on the net. So it has got lots of headings. So with this, we can assess your students, the teenagers, like class 9, 10, 11, 12, and we can find out what are the mental problems they go through. We can identify the problems and we can solve them. Okay, not all the students may not have this problem, but there are isolated cases are there. So this 40% of adolescents concentration problem is there. 25% is not able to sit for a long time in a single place. I told you about that iron deficiency and all those things. They cannot sit in a place. They'll be just jumping around, lack of concentration. So firstly correct the iron thing and put them onto some yoga or some sort of those sort of spiritual things, so that they can get attain more concentration, they can able to sit in one place and like study. So these things are very much important. And 25% adolescents are sad that what we see in our in the studies in our like due to family environment, family connections we call, like, so positive thinking workshops should be there for these children. Many schools, especially our education schools, they are doing lots of such sessions for our children. So that's very important. And many of the adolescent age is having lots of issues like obsessive compulsive disorders, like cleaning, more of prayers, more of into such things. So we should have a balanced. So we should have a time with them, and we should have sessions with them, and correct these things, bring them back to normal life. Uh, so 4% of children we find they have mood disorders. So it's very common. And depression we see, irritability we see, and females having 60% of females having menstrual problems. We have all this. They have acne, hirsutism, the hair growth, all those things, and reproductive tract infections, urinary tract infections. So all these things. So ideal body weight, the proper hygiene, these all things should be taught to the students at the early age itself. So I think there are some points which we can help them out, like addiction problems, de-addiction. We have centers. We have way to identify how to. Or if the child is like, they may present with different things. Like presentation may not be like addiction sort of. They may have breathing difficulties, palpitation, or vomiting, severe headache. These things maybe or they're not taking proper interest in playing. When we ask them to go out to play, they're not interested to go out to play. So such things, they always love to sit ideal alone, and they're simply browsing. So we should think that they may get into substance abuse, or we should think that they are into such things. So we should get identify such children and give them proper treatment. So we should be like a lighthouse, a mentor, or a role model who is always watching the adolescent. That's very important. So some of the anxious things, anxious is very important, so which can affect their education. So avoid discussion in front of the children. That's very important. And if the child is having severe problem, I think we can relocate the child for a time being to a different school or a different atmosphere, or to maternal grandmother's place, and relocate for a some, because this problem is very severe. In such cases, we can relocate them. And this generalized anxiety disorder, cognitive behavioral therapy, all those things. We have therapies available. So generalized anxiety disorder, we can have cognitive behavioral therapy. So psychotherapy, which we can do. Like there are teachings, like specific skills to directly manage worries and all those things. And there are medications also. So the psychology people will take care of that counseling session and all those therapies. And the psychiatric doctors, they manage with the medical therapies. Okay. So there are depressive illness. We find that depressive illness, we see if a child who is not doing well in studies, poor in concentration, not showing interest in, like before she was interested in these things. Now she's not showing much interest. uh, lack of appetite or lack of sleep. So all those things we should identify that child is depressed. So even the friend can identify. So a friend can identify that if the somebody in the class or the her friend previously was a good friend, now she's moving away, she's not happy in life, she's not concentrating in studies, not showing interest in games or other things. Okay, so there is something wrong, and brings the notice and to tell the teacher, as inform her parents and give her proper care. Otherwise, like what thing is more and more depressions and can further lead to suicide and other things. So in anxious child, what we can do is we can give lots of therapies like deep breathing therapies, guided imagery therapies, like the child make a make a book handbook in a diary. She may write down her problems and see these problems are not a big problems. I can get along away with these problems. She will slowly forget such like unpleasant instance. Make her listen, think to pleasant imagines in the imaginaries in the mind, good pleasant incidents in her life. Maintain a journal where she can write down all those things and reduce the screen time and practice some drawing or painting, like what I do, something like very much like what she can do it, creative things. And emphasis on physical exercise is very, very important. And counsel on improvements of sleep, hygiene, and balanced diet. So these things are to be given to a anxious child. Every adult teenager, that age is like that. They're flexible. They undergo lots of turmoil. So we should identify, we should help them, and we should have empathy to them. So we should think like how we had come through that age. Now these days it is more like every 10 years, every decade it goes, things are getting more and more like that sexual health we should teach them. Otherwise, they can end up in lots of other issues like and proper vaccines and proper nutrition, hydration, hygiene. All those things are very, very important in an adolescent's life. I think um, uh, I have just roughly covered the areas. I think we can have a small discussion, and then maybe more points will come out from that.
So we have our first question here. What is
Yeah,
the relationship between peer relationships, social dynamics, and adolescent health in relation to the academic success?
yeah, that's a very good question because peer group, which we had already told, it's the main thing which is affecting the academic performance. If the child is very lucky to get a good friend and a group of friends which are more into academics and positive things and with good vibes, obviously it's always lucky. Otherwise, the parents, I think they should monitor. The parents should collect all the friends' phone numbers, get in touch with them. Who are they? What are the parent, the family backgrounds, all those things, and see that once in a while they call you home, give them a small party, and see that all the they are just get to know that each the your child, your daughter or son, their friends, who are they, how are they, get a good relationship with them, so that tomorrow when your child face some issues, maybe they may be the saviors. They may come for the help. They can inform you. They can like they can inform you early, like the child is having some problem or they're not going well or going with somebody else. Like so, the peer group is very, very important in the study purpose, in the academic performance also. That's a very good question.
Thank you, sir, for that. Perumal VS has raised hands. Can you please ask the question?
Hello,
Peru-
sir. Unmute yourself and call us, sir.
Perumal, sir, are you there?
Positivepsychology.com is a online platform, so where you can lots of tools to handle the teenagers. Okay, just note down this point. Okay, positivepsychology.com. There's got lots of tools like what I have demonstrated back. So we can like difficulty in concentrating in class. The children having this they have lots of headaches. So we can put some like some points, and we can make a calculation, and we can find out that what are the problems they face, why they are going back in the academics.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we can move on to the next question. How was the 10th grade COPS anxiety due to board exams?
Yeah. So I think the schools they must finish the syllabus in a slow but systematic and passionate in the very like systematic and a little bit in advance, so that the child should not get like hurried to the end, like completing the portion. Like during our 10th exam, we have been seeing that during that time, like I studied in my in Middle East. So that time in my during my 10th, like 1991, the Gulf War was going on, and we were so much anxious, like how the climate is affecting a child's education. We were very much anxious. Anxiety was there, like exam will be postponed, will it happen, or how it will happen? The Gulf War is going on, and our syllabus like history. I don't know how she was. Our ma'am was Maithili ma'am, and she was just rushing through the syllabus and giving us simply notes, and so these things should not happen. You should teach in advance or early, like maybe if lots of activities in the school that can affect the child also. Activities should be there. Like it's not that we should not stop all the activities. Activities is a must in a child's growth, development. But it should be in a limited manner so that it should not affect the academic also. Both should go hand in hand. So the syllabus, the chapters should be finished well in advance, and comfortable time should be given to the child to make lots of revisions. So now, see, again, I take back to my daughter's example. Now she's in the 12th, and almost their 12th syllabus is almost completed, and now they're preparing for the NEET and all those things. So they're having revision classes, model examinations, all this. So by December, Jan, they should finish the academics, the syllabus, everything, and better they go for revision part and all those things. That will be very much helpful, and some model examinations before the exams. And I advise every child, like weekends, they should do a model test at home. Lots of model papers are available. So get one. This plan for 1 or 2 hours of time. Sit and see that you can finish the time period, and make sure that like even weekend revisions, it will make you like the memory will be like long term. So what we say is like you make a notes when even from the beginning of the academics, and every weekend you just revise the notes in the weekends, so that that particular note, that points will be stick on your head. You have to write many lots of things. Like if the point is stick to the point, good handwriting, and proper presentation, the neat paper, you can score very good marks.
Thank you, sir, for that. Our next question is how to identify an adolescent maybe having health issues. What are the warning signs?
Health, so mental, physical, social. So the definition of health. Many parents they come to us, they tell the child is very active, is not having any illness, so is healthy. Why we are bothered? So, but the definition of health is not merely an absence of illness. So the child is not having any illness, it doesn't mean the child is healthy. If the child has to be healthy, he should have a age appropriate growth. It should be age appropriate height, age appropriate weight, and height appropriate weight, and the age appropriate physical, mental, and social well-being. The child is not mingling with others, is moving away from others, maybe some depressive illness or some anxiety disorders. I mean, it's not that is, but he is very active. Doesn't mean that child is not healthy. So we should think that these things are there. Like so, the early warning signs is I told you the depression. The early warning signs is the child may not show interest in the regular activities which child is showing interest before. The child may be increased sleep or maybe lack of sleep. Some may have increased appetite. Some have lack of appetite. Like so, these things we should find out that child may have some anxiety or some depressive illness or other things, like child is not gaining height. Just have a look along with the like all the parents. The familial height is there. Okay, some children they gain height later age also. Some are late bloomers, what we say. But still, the child is not having adequate height at the particular age. We have got a chart, like we have an adolescent chart or health chart. We should say, see, like this charts. Many of the doctors will have. So we can plot out the weight of the child, the height of the child for different age up to 18 years. I should say is the right time an adolescent grow is 10 years to 14, 15 years. And that's boys. And girls, they start little early. The growth spurt starts from 9.5 years to till they attain the menarche. So you should think that the child should attain maximum height by the time the child starts menstruating. The child is started menstruating, the hormonal change will lead to the ossification of the bones. And what will happen? The child will not have adequate height. All right, it will be short in height. So we should make sure that the child or early itself, like 10 years, 11 years, before attending the periods, the child has already grown at least 5 feet. If the child is not growing well, you should think of lots of other issues like what I told about hypothyroidism, or the child is not having vitamin D deficiency is very, very, very common. Vitamin D deficiency, sunlight, vitamin. Our children not getting maximum exposure to sunlight. I advise is they should play for 1 hour every day and they should go exposed to 30 minutes sunlight. 30 minutes of sunlight will give them 2000 units of vitamin D. It is there only in the sunlight, not there in any other food. And this vitamin D is very important. How much calcium you eat from meat, egg, fish, milk, all those things, vegetables may not be utilized in the body unless you have vitamin D. Vitamin D takes the calcium into your bones and you have become tall, healthy. Otherwise, it's go waste. So make sure that your child exposed to sunlight, and the more they play, the more they grow. And if the child is not tall enough, then if the girl child, then make sure that you can go for some hormonal therapy before the child attains the periods. So we can delay the periods occurring early age and allow the give the child to give some child to grow with the help of growth hormones. Treatment is very expensive, but still what I see is the common thing which hampers the growth of the child is like the vitamin D deficiency. So vitamin D, iron, calcium, all those things, zinc, all very important. So make the child see that the child is growing tall, the proper weight for the height, all those things should be charted plotted on a chart, and make sure that your child is growing well. So for the girl, there's a pink chart, and for the boys, we have a blue chart. So that's very, very important. And the child is more sleepy, not taking adequate food, all those things. Just open the eyes. There's lots of tools now these days doctors can have, or simply you can just see that eyes is like pale. You see that the child is having anemic, or see that the nails are brittle, breaking off. The white lines which we see on the nails, it's all lack of deficiency of zinc or many micro elements. So if the child is having constipation, maybe the sign of hypothyroidism. Hair fall, maybe lack of iron and thyroid problems. So these are the early signs which we can identify that child is not doing well, not poor health. And other anxiety and psychology and all those things I have told, like you should monitor the child. Stay with the child from the connectedness, very, very important for the early age. So you should have a good bonding with your child, hug them, pat them, morning when they get up, tell them some good morning, I love you. They may not tell you, but you should teach these things, these habits in the home, praying together, spirituality, bondness, these things very important. And the child should feel that any mistake I do, I have the freedom, I have the courage, I have the right, I can have my mother is there, my father is there who will listen to me without any so they love me without any mistake. So these things, these relationships should be developed from very early age so that you have a very smooth time with your adolescent. Otherwise, we have seen like they get very angry. The adolescent is the age where they have an individuality. They feel that I am an adult, but not an adult. So they have a feeling that I am a person now. Why should I listen to my parents? Why should what they tell is like what is right, what is wrong? What we say is the brain has two parts, left and right. And we have, as adults, matured persons, 22, 23, our brains are now fully developed. We can use both the sides of the brain. One brain is for the logic thinking, another brain is for the emotional thinking. These children, these adolescents, they have only one side of the brain, which is that emotional thing. Logical thinking is not working. It will work only after 22 years. So, what is right? What is wrong? These things should be given from our side. We should be calm, quiet, relaxed. When they're very aggressive mode, angry mode, don't tell them anything. Don't go for advice. They won't understand. They won't listen to you. When they're calm, quiet, go to them, understand their problems, support them. talk to them, they will listen to you. They think that my mother is there too, my father is there to support me. Otherwise, this emotional in this age group, they go for the emotions, and therefore high speed bike accidents. They go for swimming, they fall, they die there drowning, or they go for suicide. All those things. So these things are there very because of they are not using the other side of the brain. They only go for the emotions, what the friends say. So we should, as a parent, as a teacher, as an elder brother, we must give them our logic side and be with them, support them.
Thank you, sir, for that. We have another question here. What is the impact of technology and screen time on the health and academic performance of adolescents?
Now, we all know, obviously, now I have told like 10 years back when I was doing the study, post graduation adolescent pediatrics, I did a study, and in that, the time consuming was SMS. Now the thing has changed. Over the years of 10 years now, as after a decade, we find that social media, the platforms, all have grown. Insta is now the place where all the teenagers are where they're living. They spend the time, the reels they make, and all those things, story and all those things. These things should be there. Like it's not that it's bad, but we should teach them how to use them properly, the right manner, the right time, consuming the very limited time. So, like if you have a capacity to handle your child from the early age, put a time for screen. So screen time, you should have a time. This much time allowed. As the child finishes that work that particular time, like it's entertainment in the screen time. Okay, say half an hour. Or postpone it for the weekends, not like every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give some time, like half an hour. Okay, use it. Then the child will returning that gadget on time. Perfect. You can maybe tomorrow you can give 10 minutes extra as a bonus. All right. So like that, if the child is not properly returning the gadget on time, not obeying that time limit, all those things, then maybe we can put a like both the parents should be strict on this. Many problems happens in many families, but I think we can control from an early age and make sure that weekends only for the social media and all those things. Then have a lots of like we can control the social media with lots of systems are there now which we can identify. We can lock certain areas. We can monitor which areas they're spending more time, all those things. But our children are more intelligent and more informed than us, so that there's limitation for the parents also. But what I should say is like good understanding, good relationships, because otherwise the more the screen time they spend, like before sleep, if they use social medias, like the blue light which enters the eyes, like they won't get sleep. So at least 2 hours before the sleep, you should keep off from the mobile and gadgets. Only then will you get a proper sleep. Otherwise, sleep will be difficult. That sleep hormone may not be released. So the blue light is very dangerous for the sleep as well as for the health and other things. So the eye power, vision, all those things should be checked in a child who is more into these things. And younger children, we find lots of autism due to over involved in the mobile. So you should not give to the child who is less than 3 years. Never ever expose a child to a mobile phone. Otherwise, we find that lots of autism sort of presentation are there in children, young children also. So these things lead to later on their academics and other things. So our children already face lots of academic issues due to COVID and lots of screen time and online classes and all those things. I think the parents should have some time, sit with the teenager, with the child. They should give some time so that they do some creative things like. So spend your time. That's more important than treatment. The first line of treatment is your time. Give your time to your child. That's very, very important.
Thank you, sir, for that. We have next question here. How does the mental health stigma affect adolescents' willingness to seek help and consequently their academic performance?
Yeah. So I think the school should have a counseling team. The teacher should identify that who is having the problems and recognize the children who are having difficulties. Every time we end up hearing a sad news that a child has committed suicide due to lack of mark, or like the physical appearance that friends may make fun of them, all those things. So every child who is in a very difficult situation, who is in a risky position, the teacher should identify, or the parents should identify, or some relatives should identify, or the friends should identify and help them out, bring them forward, support them. Like I should say, I had lots of problems, like bullying I had affected in my life, in my school life. Maybe we should equip our children with a little bit physical activities, make them strong physically if they are not physically that fit. Or if the child is not, I had a certain issues like due to language skills, maybe communication skills. So that maybe they have some problem while grabbing the syllabus or communicating, asking some questions to teachers or expressing with the colleagues, the friends. So if the child is poor in the language, give them some spoken classes, spoken English classes. I advise in my schools also, like they should have a weekly one session for the children how to communicate better, good English and all those things. So okay, the spoken English part also, because with the language skill, if you have like multiple languages, if you try to learn more languages, as much more the language you learn, like even especially foreign languages, it will certainly benefit you in the future also. So what we say is like you should identify the risky person who is in risk, who is at danger, who is not doing well in studies, who is not mentally well. Pick them up, pick them up. Not only their grades or these things, identify who is not doing well in the class, who is having some issues, who is missing the classes. Because those who are children who miss the classes, those who have anxiety problems, those who are depressive illness, later on in their adult life also, they are 10 to 50, more than 50% of them are tend to have these problems in the later adult age also. Like the child, if I seeing that, if he's seeing that the father is beating the wife or the wife is doing some angry things, the parent, husband. So these things they copy, and maybe there's a high chance that they can replace, they can reproduce these things in their later life, in their family life also. So never ever do such things in front of your children. Never arguments. Be positive, be spiritual, have a happy home.
Thank you, sir, for that. Yeah, sir, Perumal sir has asked a question here. Right now, I'm a class teacher of grade 9. In my class, students are not having sufficient knowledge about proper diet. Maximum, they are consuming only unhealthy food. So, as a class teacher, how can I train them? Even their parents not does not take care of their food items. They allow to eat those kind of unhealthy food. At the end of the day, they're tired and not paying attention for the classes.
It's a very important question, very right question, sir. The problem is, like I told you, anemia is there. More than 50-60% of our children, they suffer from anemia. So at least in the, I ask the, like some, when some child come to me, I ask them, what did you learn in your schools? First standard, they learn about carbohydrates, what is proteins, what are vitamins, what are fat. These things are taught in class 4, 3, and all those things. So how we get this energy? So carbohydrate from where we get? We get from our minerals. The fat portion how we get from the ghee and the other things. The protein portion where we get from egg, milk, and meat, all those things. So vitamins where we get from the different colored fruits and vegetables. So we should make them the pyramid chart, that there's a health food pyramid is there. Yeah, from top to bottom, which should be taken more, which should be consumed less. So the bottom portion of the pyramid, which is contains the healthy diet, like the calcium, the proteins, the milky portion, milk, that vegetable portion, the fruits portion, the pulses portion, the rice. So our traditionally Indian diet is carbohydrate diet, and even especially in Kerala also, or Tamil Nadu, or other South Indian places also, we eat lots of rice. So this rice, these 8 students should not miss the breakfast. So every day, like in the class, you make a session, you make them talk about the food habits, like the healthy diet. So the proportion of health should be taken, the food should be taken. So proportion of rice, how much to be taken, the balanced diet, the plate, the healthy plate. So you can tell them the 1/4 of the plate should be having rice, then 1/4 of the plate should have some fruits or vegetables, 1/4 of the plate having that other egg and other things, like So this is the way. And for every calorie of food we eat, it should be burned. You should have proper fuel. And what's the fuel for burning our food? Water. So water is also very important. So every you some schools they have water breaks, water bells, and all. When they ring the bell, the child gets up and drinks some water. So make sure that the children adequately have enough water and they go to proper toilet. That urination make the toilet and all those things very hygienic, and like the children should not have any problem using those things. Places. So regarding diet, I told you, you just advise the all the children go for a checkup or simply see that. And if they're anemic, you must advise them to have iron tablets, meet a doctor and get iron tablets, multivitamin, B complex, zinc, and vitamin C. Where we can get these things, you can advise them simply also, like all the colors of the rainbow with geo, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So all these different colors. So one day you have yellow, one day you have orange, one day you have red, one day you have other color. So green. So the green leaf vegetables and all those things, we give them lots of fiber as well as calcium and lots of B complexes also. That yellow one, we see papaya and all those things, orange or lemon, all those things, which have lots of vitamin C's they have. Vitamin A from carrot and all those things, orange color. So just tell them, have some fun session. Tell them to make a chart, food pyramid tomorrow. They can go through some food pyramid and they can bring and make a chart placed in the class, and tell them avoid this fast food, junk foods. These samosas and our all those things. Cutlet samosa is very, lots of oil is in it, and it's highly calorie and it is waste. You should not use such heavy calorie foods because these teenagers tend to develop lots of pimples, acne. So one reason is like they may have dandruff that can lead to acne. The hormone changes can lead to acne. The extra lots of ice creams which they eat can lead to acne. Extreme lot of junk and oily food which they take can lead to acne. So these things they can reduce. So that these things should teach in a class, in the class. Tell them, advise them. They'll be very happy. On the height and weight, the balanced. Like in an adult, it should be the height in centimeters. So one adult is 170 centimeter minus 100. So 70 kilo is the adequate weight. But not that much applicable in a youngsters. So youngsters should have a growth chart and the adequate height. If somebody is very obese, plump, like all those things, you should advise them 1 hour play, half an hour of sunlight exposure, 6 to 8 hours of sleep, proper sleep hygiene. These things should be, and water. These things should be, and balanced diet. These should be advised every day. At least give a reminder. And if they're tired and sick and all those things, advise them to take vitamin D3. Very, very important. Randomly, you can tell everybody get vitamin D, get tested or have vitamin D. And everybody should get tested for hemoglobin or let them start hemoglobin tablets. Very, very, these two things very, very important. And plenty of food, proper water, and proper that proper health. That what do we say? That pyramid should be followed, and the proper healthy food plate should be followed. These things should be advised. So everybody should take. See, many people have the worry that egg may cause lots of like cough and all those things. Egg has nothing to do with respiratory infections. Egg is a complete food which egg which has is there in the egg is not there in many other foods. So egg is a complete food and everybody should take an egg. Previously, we have heard that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now the dictum has changed. An egg a day keeps the doctor away. So you should tell tomorrow, sir, that all the children, the class, an egg a day keeps the doctor away. So that everybody should take an egg every day. Milk or some citrus fruits like orange, grape, and lemon may cause cough and respiratory problems this season, with the season. Some children are allergic to it. So you can avoid orange, lemon, grapes, watermelon. We don't know how, but watermelon causes lots of cough. Then pineapple, mango, all those things. So they can avoid these fruits. Lots of other fruits are available: apple, banana, pomegranate, guava, papaya, jackfruit. Okay, so pear. So they can have all those of fruits, but those are prone to develop cough, and they can avoid those citrus fruits and milk. No need of milk. What we get from milk, some calcium. An egg can provide double the calcium than an egg. So go for that. Then milk. So go for an egg every day. Keep healthy.
Thank you, sir, for that. We have one question here. How can food be made nutritious, like nutrition and delicious together?
Yeah. So what we like, how to like what we say is every food what we take should be nutritious. So that's what we say. So every food, like in a child also, what we say is like a child should eat a proper diet and nutritious diet. So you can add a little of ghee, you can add a little of oil, and that proper cooking and the fresh vegetables cleaned, and maybe fruits and vegetables. They can even lots of salads. So what we say is even before taking the diet, have more salads in your diet. The more the fat, the salads in the diet give more fibers, which will take away the fat present in your food. So the fat will be excreted from the body without absorption. So take lots of fibers. So that salad portion should be more served in the plate than the rice portion. Rice portion is actually making us fat, not that the meat or egg or fish. Meat, egg, fish is the protein portion, and egg has got the proper fat. It is not a bad fat; it's a good fat. So the and protein. So egg yolk should be consumed, and we can avoid that more of oily things. Maybe bake the food and make it more nutritious and less harmful. And other things like more of raw vegetables and properly washed, and or boiled vegetables and lots of fresh fruits every day. Just one fruit every day, and all those things. And add more of dal in the rice, pulses. Dal and pulses, all those things has got many like things which are not present in other foods also. So the complement. So to make a food complement, so more little bit of rice and pulses. So what we give rice we take, or more morning you take a put or appam or all those things, and add some kadla or all those things into it, which is balancing. So one is carbohydrate, and other thing is protein. The balance in the diet, and avoid more of salt and sugar and all those things. So excessive salt, the white things, maida portion is very bad. Maida is like what is like is more of like refined. So there is very little of fiber in it. So fiber, avoid maida, and avoid sugar, excess of sugar, avoid excess of salt, and go for minimum is balanced. So have lots of vegetables and fruits and make a proper healthy diet.
Thank you, sir, for that. Yeah, sir, we have one more question here. How can schools and communities work together to address the broader social determinants of health that may affect the academic success in adolescence?
Yeah, we can take the children for the study tours, the picnics, or in connection with the village activities and all those things, and encourage, even take our children to the local schools and make them take classes for the other downtown children, and those who don't get more opportunity to learn more things. Help them out, create a good library in outskirts like village schools and all those things. We can spend our old we can share our old books with the children who are not have the opportunity to uh, get read more storybooks and all those things. So helping each other, making our children more active in different activities, extracurricular activities, lots of social activities, and make them a good citizen. And obviously in return, without any much effort, they will get back to their skill also. So there are many children who take tuition for the other children for for fun or day-to-day living also, for their meeting the expenses. So by which they are, by imparting our knowledge to somebody else, obviously we get more knowledgeable. So I think we can take our children for tours to other schools. They make them a chance, give them a chance to share their thoughts, education, all those things, and get to learn from the society as well as the community what is happening there. The direct exposure than from the books alone. So these things also be taken care of.